we start to ask ourselves, like, what is the point of this? Like, you know, does manifestation work for these people? You know, like, does manifestation, like, there's the occupation of your environment, but what about the occupation of your mind, you know? Hey guys, welcome back to Nearly by Nature. Today I have a very special guest. This is my niece Sadia, who I talk so much about in my videos. Sadia quit her job to travel with me and start this project, and I wanted to formally introduce her to my channel because we're pretty much on this journey together, and it's a really intense journey. We did ayahuasca together, we were in Costa Rica together, we were in Mexico together, and now we're here in the West Bank, Palestine right now. And I wanted to give a little bit of an update about life after ayahuasca for the both of us, because I feel like we were going through two very different things.
Dramatic changes.
Yeah. And also just like what our time has been like in Palestine and like what we've been up to. And then to kind of talk a little bit about like our spirituality and like all the questions we've been having. So I'm just gonna first allow Sadia to introduce herself.
Hi, you already gave an introduction. Sorry. Yes, my name is Sadia. I'm 30 years old. Single.
Sadia, this is not Tinder.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I am a Nearly by Nature videographer at the moment, and part-time editor as well. And we're on this journey together. Yeah, we did ayahuasca in January, and now we're here 5 months later. We're here in the West Bank of Palestine, and we've been here for a month and a half, and the experience has been intense and emotionally, I would say draining, but honestly, I feel like the more deeper I'm getting into my emotions and feeling them, there's a well. It's like more is coming. It's like an endless well of emotions, and I feel them all kind of moving through me. And honestly, I'm not the most emotional person, and when I do have highs and lows, it's not as I'm not externally experiencing them. But here it's like I have no choice but to feel these emotions, and still grappling with like ayahuasca. But being here, I think that this is a holy land, and ever since I started meditating here, I felt something in the pit of my stomach. I still can't completely verbalize. I feel like I'm figuring it out as I'm coming here, and I think it has a lot to do with connections to my emotions and like listening to my intuition, and meeting people here, and like the experience that we're having here it feels necessary. It feels like we were dropped here for a reason, and I feel that more and more. I didn't feel that in the beginning.
Yeah. So what made you change?
Meeting the people here, being here, but meeting the people here. The thing is that I don't think I had that much knowledge, or even like I didn't really understand what was going on here in this region. And now that I do, it's frustrating. It's like the deepest wells of despair. we've been experiencing here, just from encountering people. I'm not saying that I am experiencing this, but it's like meeting these people. There's just so much pain, but it's so the remarkable thing is that there's so much joy, resilience, joy in the face of this occupation.
And just to add to that, I think it's like I thought I knew a lot about the situation that was happening here, but then like nothing really prepares you for like actually being here. And I like completely like encourage people who are interested in or maybe not even interested, like just I think it's like worthwhile to come here, because it's like we're now in Ramallah, like a whole different city in the West Bank, very different from all of the West Bank. It's like you have bars here and there's clubs and like you can a little bit more progressive, and I didn't expect that, and maybe that was my own ignorance about like what the West Bank was going to be like. Honestly, I was very surprised by Palestine in general, because I thought it was going to be a very, very strict and religious country, and of course some parts are more conservative than others, but for the most part, like, you know, we wear like our normal clothes, and we don't have to wear a headscarf or anything like that. So those things are really cool. And then also just even having conversations with people who are religious about religion, and people are interested in your ideas and your perspective. Also just like talking to people about spirituality and our ayahuasca experience. And like so many people here are struggling with mental health, and you know, of course people here go through so much. It's like interesting to see how people continue to be like really kind and like stable, but like at the same time there's like a hole in their heart, and they're just trying to stay afloat.
Which is why it's interesting, because like people are interested in these conversations about spirituality. Like,
it's like you're kind of looking for something more, and it's like religion is not really doing it for you. And I think a lot of people here, you know, like they've been living in occupation for generations, and the situation is so bad here. Like, you know, when we talk to people and they're just like, I literally live my life not knowing if tomorrow is promised. And it's like, we all say that, like it's a very common saying, right? Like live life to, you know, like it's your last day. But like Palestinians really are the epitome of that, because like, okay, I think just like in the past 3 days, it's been like people die all the time by Israeli army, and it's just like, it's really sad, and it's like 30 minutes away from where we are, you know. And I think there is also our own mental health issues just like with that, right? Like I feel like I was on social media and I was posting so much about the conflict, and then I kind of had to like push away, because one, I was getting angry and I was feeling frustrated by reposting these things. I didn't feel like I was being helpful, and I didn't feel like it was doing any good. And I felt like once I started becoming angry, I knew that I was no longer going to be like contributing to like creating solutions, or, you know, seeing even like our whole project through. Like I wanted to come from a place that's like understanding, and like, and sometimes when you're understanding, it doesn't mean that you're like I don't think it's healthy to be neutral all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you, like it's very like in a situation like this, you can't be neutral. Like you cannot be neutral in this. And I think people in the world feel like this is a very neutral topic, or like you have to choose a neutral side, because it's like in the media, it's like, oh, this is like a very
it's a conflict.
And it's balance, and it's a balance of powers, and it's like completely not. One party is completely being oppressed by the other, and they're not, like, their voices are not being heard, their stories are not being told. And it's like, even if you speak out and are just a bit pro-Palestine in like America or Europe, and you criticize Israel, like, you can be deemed anti-Semitic like this, and your career and your life can be over. And I think that's so problematic, and it's so frustrating, because Palestinians don't deserve this. Like, they're not responsible for what happened to Jewish people in Europe, you know? They're not responsible. Somehow they are, like, all this hatred and anger is, like, being pointed at them, and, like, the world is kind of quiet watching them suffer. And, you know, we're collecting all these stories, and we're hearing these, like, heartbreaking stories about people who are having their land taken away, how there's, like, settlers living in their house, like, how, you know, even though the Israeli army should be protecting Palestinians, they're not. And they're protecting settlers. Illegal, by the way. So it's like, you know, you're hearing all these stories, and then you have to cope, and you have to, we start to ask ourselves, like, what is the point of this? Like, you know, does manifestation work for these people? You know, like, this manifestation, like, there's the occupation of your environment, but what about the occupation of your mind, you know? And a lot of people here, like, it's very difficult to not allow the situation they're living in to occupy their mind, you know? So when we start to have conversations sometimes with people about, like, spirituality and meditation and how to really create from a place of, like, silence and, like, really your mind, it's so, like, what's the word?
It's so far above anything that they can fathom.
Yeah,
themselves.
they can't, like, conceptualize this idea of, like, spirituality. So yeah, it's so many questions I have for myself, so many questions I have for, like, I don't know, about spirituality and things like that. But I think personally, I feel like we've both grown so much.
Yeah.
And that's really beautiful to see, because it's like, when we first came here, I felt so, like, anxious about the future and, like, about this project and stuff. And we didn't know a single person here, right? Like, we just kind of came here, but it feels like
we have, like, family. Like, we've got really close to these people.
Yeah, and I feel like all the right people have been finding their way to us and being here and, like, just trusting the process and also not trying to control the process. That's where we are right now. Do you have anything to add?
No.
We're really excited to show you guys what we've been working on.
Yeah.
All these interviews, we've been really working hard, getting to know people, filming, editing, creating questionnaires, like, really trying to create something that's...
I do want to say, it's like, this project is evolving as we go along, and I think that will be reflected in what we, like, deliver, like, what we post on YouTube.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you're interested, I think you'll come along on this journey with us. That's what it'll feel like. We really are trying to create the story, like, capture the story. Actually, we're not creating it, we're capturing these stories. We also want you guys to see our own growth and our own progression as this develops and comes along.
Exactly. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys at our next video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and thumbs up if you enjoyed this video.
Yes.
Bye.
Yalla habibti.